So
Yeah.
we're big fans of the book Small Giants. Have you read that one?
Yeah, sure.
So real big fans of that. We
Yeah.
picked up before we read it. We actually started doing this, but we like the idea of the employee stock ownership program, or the ESOPs.
Yeah.
What we have on our real estate side of the company is we have a management group that manages all the properties that we own, and then we own the actual, each new property we buy is its own investment, right? So we don't raise outside capital, but we actually have team members after they've been with us for 2 years. They're allowed to invest in the deals. So this last one, this one that we're doing right now, we actually have 17 team members on the deal, and we're seeing a huge demand now from internal team members to get in and start actually owning components of the company. What are your thoughts on that? Have you seen that other places, and how has it worked?
Oh yeah, 100%. So being an ESOP is a fabulous example of the democratic principle of decentralization being in practice. So, and I talk about it in the book. So that's great. That's fabulous because you're giving power to the people, you're giving ownership. People care, when they have that sense of ownership, you perform at a different level. And so, yeah, that's a great example of a system and process that's very democratic.
And it's also a little self-serving because sometimes the property managers, when
I
they
want to
weren't,
just keep it easy for myself. That's why I'm doing it.
yeah, well, when the when the property
Right.
managers didn't have ownership, it was
Yeah.
a challenge saying, "Hey, we need to raise rents." Now they have ownership and they understand how to drive the business. They're like, "Well, now we've got to raise rents, and those market rents, we've got to stay to market rents." And it's one of those things that even the maintenance techs, well, I've got to go out and do the maintenance calls because we want to keep happy residents. We don't want to have employee
We
turnover.
want to fix it right on the front end now, and not yes.
Right.
Yeah, so it's
That's
ownership.
exactly it. It's win-win. It's smart. I mean, you're also getting to what's another system and process of transparency, open book management, right? So it's having, I'm sure your owners, they have to understand what are the finances, what's the financial picture? Oh, we have to raise rents. This is why.
Anyone can pull an income statement at any given and see what's going
Right.
on.
So you guys are practicing open book management, another great practice of transparency that I talk about in the book. So these are those systems and processes that you get in place. And as you have them in place, again, you guys see the impact and the benefit that comes from it.
The interesting thing is that we have a deal going right now that we're renovating and turning it, and it's a little bit on the smaller side for us, and so I'm eager to get it to where it needs to be, and I'm really excited about the future potential of it. But there's employees and team members that have invested on it, and they've been pushing harder to get it to where it needs to be than myself, because percentage wise that impacts their net worth and their income much greater than mine, so they're more motivated now to get that to that where it needs to be than myself, even though I own a large percentage of it. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic, and it's working quite well for ourselves.
Right. You see the motivation when people are engaged, when they have ownership, when they have access to information, the motivation level goes through the roof. And that's why all these things that are out there of like perks and incentives and free lunches and, can you bring your dog to work and all this stuff is just complete BS, in my opinion. The way you motivate people is giving people that sense of ownership. It's aligning their individual sense of purpose with the purpose of what you're trying to achieve. And when people have that stake in the outcome, they're so much more motivated. They don't need, to have, carrot and stick sort of
Well,
They
it's
don't need
to your
membership
point.
points.
Yeah, it's less command and control. It's
Right.
more incentive based and truly beneficial to them to make